their arms crossed, standing at the bottom of the stairs. That takes us to Amityville. The infamous ghost boy photograph of the Amityville house, possibly the youngest to fail child. Welcome to Friday Night Ghost Frights. I'm author and ghost story Mike Ricksecker. Explore with us. Since the advent of the camera, humans have been trying to capture ghosts and spirits on film. The spiritualism movement was blossoming during the mid-1800s, and photographer William Mumler took advantage of that movement and people's inexperience with photography to market and sell his spirit photographs. Even President Lincoln's wife, Mary, bought into Mumler's photography. Mumler was eventually charged with fraud, but he was acquitted even though the judge stated the photos were, indeed, fake. Another early fake before we get into the real photographs were the Cottingley fairies. The Cottingley fairies were a series of photographs taken in 1917 and 1920 by cousins Francis Griffith and Elsie Wright, depicting them playing with fairies. The 1920 photos were actually commissioned by an unaware Sir Arthur Conan Doyle of Sherlock Holmes fame. While blatantly fraudulent to our modern eye, photographic experts of the day declared the photos genuine, and the hoax continued on for decades. It wasn't until 1981 that Elsie finally admitted that the fairies were paper cutouts of sketches she had drawn inspired by Princess Mary's gift book. One of the most famous early ghost photographs of all time was that of the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. It's said she is the ghost of Lady Dorothy Walpole, who was a prisoner in her own home and died there of smallpox. Scores of people had already seen her in the home, but it wasn't she Hubert Provan was looking for when he was photographing the house for Country Life magazine in 1936. The photos are simply for an article about the mansion. When she suddenly came floating down the stairs, the photo was snapped and the rest is supernatural history. Renowned paranormal investigator Harry Price confirmed the photograph of the Brown Lady as authentic for good measure. That takes us to Amityville. The infamous ghost boy photograph of the Amityville house, possibly the youngest to fail child, was taken during the Warren seance at the residence in 1976. Professional photographer Gene Campbell had set up an infrared camera on the second floor that automatically took photos throughout the night. Of all the photos taken that night, there is only this one of the boy, and it said that no one had been upstairs during that time. There are those, however, that speculate the photo may be that of Paul Bartz, part of the crew that night, who had a similar look and wore a similar shirt. However, the shirt is not an exact match. On August 10, 1991, Judy Huff Phelps was visiting Bachelor's Grove Cemetery with the Ghost Research Society, one of the oldest paranormal investigation groups in the nation. During that visit, she took what has become known as the Madonna of Bachelor's Grove photo, now one of the most famous ghost photos of all time, after first being published in the Chicago Sun-Times. Judy did not see the woman with her naked eye, but had simply been snapping photos as part of her investigation with GRS. Orb photography. When it comes to orbs, I'm very picky about what I might consider to be paranormal activity. Most orb photographs are just dust or moisture, and while some people say they may see faces within those specks of dust, really is just pareidolia. What I'm really interested in are self-illuminated balls of light anomalies with their own luminescence. Such was the case during an investigation at the abandoned Black Bear Church out in Oklahoma. The first photo I ever took within the sanctuary was when I first stepped inside, and it was of a fantastic illuminated ball of light. Photos taken directly after did not reveal it again, so had I scared off whatever it might have been? Another fantastic anomaly I caught on film was at the Stone Lion Inn, and it was a fantastic white wisp. Let me give you the backstory. So we were just starting our investigation of the house. We were walking through the main entry hall of the Stone Lion Inn, which has a bureau, a set of drawers that's there in the entrance hall that's blocking off a set of doors that Becky, the homeowner, doesn't want people using. Well, we had noticed that one of the drawers was partially open. Didn't really pay it any mind, just kind of, why is that open? But we were headed to the parlor suite to investigate there. Well, we had only been back in the parlor suite a couple of minutes when all of a sudden we heard a slam come back from the entrance hall. So we went out there and discovered that that bureau drawer had been slammed shut. Well, Johnny takes out the tri-field meter, I start snapping photographs, and sure enough, I caught this fantastic white wisp between Johnny and the bureau. The moment wasn't really quite done. We had decided then to split off into two groups because the parlor suite was really just too small for our entire group. So I was leading a group upstairs. I'd gotten to the landing and another girl had started up, but between us crashed a framed photograph to the stairs. Glass shattered everywhere. Of course, neither one of us had touched it. It just did this on its own. If that had anything to do with the white wisp, I really don't know, but it was only within a couple minutes of capturing that wisp. There's also the Kampsville Grade School in Kampsville, Illinois, in which we caught some interesting things on video. One was a short shadow person just across the gym from us. We were sitting in the bleachers, and near the door to the boys' locker room and the basement, short shadow person, maybe about the size of a 10 or 11-year-old child.
Where are you moving over there?
Over there.
If I told you that I could already see you, would that make you want to hide as much?
Can you play that whistle for us again?
During another incident at the school, we set up a video camera looking down the stairs to the basement since we kept experiencing activity in that area. While we first kept going into the actual basement, we deduced that, a lot of the activity that we had been hearing was actually coming from the staircase area. So we set up a camera looking down there, and then we left for a while. The camera picked up what may have been an apparition of a woman in period clothing, late 1800s, early 1900s, their arms crossed, standing at the bottom of the stairs.
It was a good idea. So, yeah.
The unusual thing about this, however, is that she doesn't move. So we went back later to try to recreate it to see if maybe it was some matrixing on the wall. However, we were unable to recreate that with the backdrop of the wall. And while we were doing this, there was a pebble that was thrown from the basement passageway into the stairwell area.
I had it set right about here, right?
And finally, there's a couple of photographs that Shauna caught while we were down at the Kampsville locks. It's really almost like a jungle area, concrete structure that had once been a lock system for the boats going up and down the Illinois River, and we were just exploring. Well, she captured this one object flying in an arc toward me, a little bit large and a little bit luminescent to be just a bug, and then another time in one of the what would have been a hinge for one of the doors that had been there, something else that was glowing. This may have been something else that we'd experienced months later up at the Goldenrod Showboat, in which we saw an illuminated ball of light dancing around the showroom, as well as this strange bar of light that emerged on the floor and then suddenly started fluttering. Fairies? We don't know. Perhaps. We've captured a lot of interesting photographs over the years, and these are just a few of them. We're looking forward to whatever else we may be able to uncover. Thank you for watching Friday Night Ghost Frights. Please let us know what you thought of this video in the comments below, and if you've not yet, please subscribe. Click that little bell notification to get notified of our upcoming videos. I'm Mike Ricksecker. Until next Friday night.
It was a good idea.